Welcome to the Midland Moment Podcast, the podcast dedicated to telling the story of Midland through the eyes of its employees. I'm your host, Jeremy Wiltz. With me today is Patrick Mitchell. Patrick serves as our Director of Marketing for not only Midland, but also VNA. Patrick, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jeremy.
So Patrick gets the pleasure of working with me. I don't know if it's a pleasure or not, and sitting lots of meetings with me. So Patrick and I know each other pretty well. But Patrick, can you talk a little bit about what led you to Midland, what you kind of did before here, kind of your educational background?
Yeah. So for a long time, I worked for Walgreens drugstore and saw the end of that and decided to go back to school. And my wife's a PTA by trade, and she said, hey, Washburn's got a new CODA program, and you should explore that. So I went to Washburn, graduated from the CODA program in 2014, and worked in inpatient rehab at Kansas Rehab Hospital for about 2.5 years as a staff therapist. And from there, went to Brewster Place for about 6 years, working in marketing admissions for them. And then that kind of led me to here. Actually, Lisa directed me here. So she was a part of the St. Francis team that came over with the home health group, and she saw an opening in for the marketing position and said, "Hey, you should apply for this." And almost 3 years later, here we are.
So, can you maybe give people a little bit of a background on what you oversee, kind of what marketing aspects we have at Midland? Because I think that's probably a department that's a little more hidden than some of our clinical departments. So just talk a little bit about our structure and what all you oversee and who all is doing that work.
Yeah, so I oversee really kind of 3 teams. So we've got the Midland Care clinical marketing team. So that's the team that markets home health and hospice. So they're gathering referrals from a number of sources. So they're working within the hospital systems here in the Topeka and Lawrence areas. And then we've got a facility marketing position that they're gathering referrals from the Topeka area. We've got the PACE marketing team, which they are out marketing and doing events on behalf of PACE. And they're working very, very hard in the Kansas City area currently. And then the last team there is the VNA Kansas City Home Health and Hospice Marketing Team. And they are in the Kansas City area, throughout the greater Kansas City area, both marketing home health and hospice to a variety of hospitals and facilities.
So we talked a little bit about, or you brought up a little bit that your wife, Lisa, is probably part of the reason that you came to Midland in the first place, which, as an interesting side note, when Lisa's listening to this, to let her know that she will be on the podcast at some point. So she should just get ready for it. And what is made 3 years later? What about Midland makes you want to work here still 3 years later?
So I think that, the rewarding part of my job and what we get to do here is that we're able to bring services and help to, those that need it most, kind of when they need it the most. I think, through the hospice and the hospice house, that it is very rewarding that we get to help provide those, in just providing even the education about our services. That we're able to impact a tremendous number of people on a daily basis.
So do you have any, I'm sure from a marketing standpoint, you have lots of stories about how we've done that, but does anything stick out about a particular story that exemplifies kind of those values of Midland?
So I think, from a personal standpoint, both of my grandmothers were on Meals on Wheels, and they were on that program for both of them for a number of years, and that allowed them to remain in their homes for many years longer than they would have without that program. And that's that impact on the personal side is very, very important. So I have seen that from that side, and I've seen it from the work that we do that it is very, very impactful.
Yeah, and for those listening that may not know, maybe this is one of the first podcasts you've listened to. So Midland Care does run Midland Care Meals on Wheels out of our Westport Center, and cooks about 1,500 meals a day and services the Shawnee, Jefferson, and Douglas County areas with that. We run about 76 routes a day, which is kind of crazy. and use probably almost 1,000 volunteers a year. So if anybody listening would like to volunteer, please reach out to the Volunteer Services Department. So Patrick, you've gotten to be involved in a lot of new things of Midland, because obviously when we start something new, we have to market what's new. So you and I have crossed probably each other on the highway, going back and forth to Kansas City, back and forth out to McPherson, everywhere in between. But what excites you the most about where Midland is going and the direction that you see Midland going?
So I'm really excited about the growth, especially within the Kansas City area. It's the PACE program is a very neat, unique program that provides services to those that kind of need it the most, and allows them to remain in their homes, which is very, very important to a lot of people. So as that program grows out in the Kansas City area with the new South Olathe PACE Center this fall, that's very exciting. And with the new Kansas City, Kansas PACE Center opening hopefully here in the next month or so, that's very exciting. And so as we work with that PACE development and growth, then kind of combining that with the VNA of Kansas City home health and hospice teams, that's it's very exciting.
So for those that may be listening or may have stumbled upon the podcast looking around our website or whatever the case may be, and that they actually feel like one of the services that we offer would be of use to them, could you kind of walk through the different ways that they could get in contact with us, or what the best ways to get in contact with us to find out more?
So one of the unique things that Midland Care offers is the CAL, the Care Access Line, and that's a kind of a call center setup that we have, and it's got the local number is 785-232-2044, and that allows them to get in contact with a Care Access Line member, and they kind of talk through the kind of need with that Care Access Line staffer, and they will help get them in contact with the staff or with the service line that they need.
Yeah, and so for those of you that have listened to several podcasts, Susan Spielman heads that department. She was one of our early podcast guests, and they are a great group, and they will get you where you need to go. So Patrick always liked to end with kind of a non-work related question, and he and I have known each other well enough. He has very scared looking eyes right now of what I'm going to ask, but it's a pretty easy question. So when you were a kid, was being a CODA or being a marketing director what you had as your dream job, or what did you dream of being when you were a kid growing up not too far from our office? No,
not at all. I grew up just east of here in basically just outside the Potwin area. I for the longest bit of my childhood, I was a big baseball fan. Probably being a baseball player was probably in the kind of the top of that list for a long time. I would say baseball player probably was the sort of childhood dream job.
And now you get to live out that dream by throwing pitches at your children at all of their baseball events. So
yes, lots and lots of baseball.
Well, Patrick, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time out, and thank you to those listening for taking the time, and we will talk to you later.